folks, today we will be talking about Halondrus, the Reclaimer. Uh, he's got really two phases with the that he does twice, and then the last phase is going to be a soften rage in which we use our bloodlust. So let's dive into it. This might take a second. So the two main parts that he has is the stationary phase and the transition phase, or at least that's what I'm calling it. The stationary phase has pretty much all the mechanics that we need to worry about. So I'll dive right into that. The main mechanic of Halondrus are the ephemeral motes that he spawns. If they end up touching the boss, then there's pretty much no good recovery to that, and we just wipe. So we have to be careful about that. All right, so seismic tremors. Seismic tremors will spawn around the room, dealing a lot of damage, and then creating an ephemeral zone that deals damage if you stand in it. From that tremor is where a ephemeral mote will spawn. That's what I have depicted right over here. I'm using this as the zone and this as the mote. So let's say that we have two of these go off at the same time, right? To my knowledge, they do not move up until the boss casts Reclaim, but I'll get to that here in a second. So on heroic difficulty, on normal you could just soak them. It's whatever, it doesn't really matter. But on heroic, they're going to have a shield on them that could only be destroyed by one of the tank mechanics called Light Shattered Beam. The tank has to position himself very much like Remnant of Nerzul in order to get rid of that shield so that a player can come over and soak that mote. When they soak the mote, they're going to try and use the defensive or an immunity or anything like that, and it's going to deal raid-wide damage to everyone. So it might be one of those things to where, depending on how many spawn at a time and how many we could like break shields of before he casts Reclaim, we might pop multiple at a time and use raid wide defensive cooldowns, or we might just soak them one by one. Don't know exactly how that's going to work quite yet, but those are my two options. And it all depends on timing and how quickly we could get that boss's shield down, right? So that's priority number one, are the motes. Like I said, the tank mechanic Light Shatter Beam is just going to be requiring the tank to position themselves well. Ideally, they're going to be like, if there's a mote over here, then the tank's going to want to put the beam on this one instead of this one, right? So just be wary of the mote's positioning. We're going to try our best to call it out and then position accordingly. Every now and again, like I said, Halondrus will cast Reclaim. That's going to give him a shield equal to 3% of his max health. It's going to deal raid-wide damage, pulling all players and ephemera toward him. The speed and damage is going to ramp up until the shield is destroyed. So, kill the boss, I guess. There's going to be Earthbreaker missiles. That's another fun one. Players will get zones around them. It's going to lock onto them and detonate for a decent amount of damage, leaving an aftershock that will deal massive damage to anyone in it. You're going to want to spread these out. Make sure you don't overlap your circles on someone else. I have that depicted as this little thing over here. Just imagine in the center here, our players, it's fine to do it like this. Just don't have them overlapped onto someone. Just spread out, right? Positioning should be decently spread out. There's no real reason to be super far out or super stacked out. The only reason why we would want to change our positioning is just to make sure that we're in a good spot for any motes that might come around. So I don't have any special positioning requirements on this one. Just make sure that you're not standing in front of the tanks, because tanks have mechanics that they have to deal with. So if you stand in front of the tanks, that's kind of your fault. It's actually exactly your fault, and I'm going to laugh at you every time. let's see here. Planet Cracker Beam. From the videos I've seen, there hasn't been any footage of testing of the Planet Cracker Beam. So I have two ideas of how this works. This is theoretical, right? So one is that it's just a beam that shoots out from him going towards a direction, probably for the rest of the map. So I don't know, something like that, right? Theoretically. It deals damage over time, and it's just like a zone that you shouldn't stand in because it's going to kill you. The other idea I have, and like this is purely theoretical, is that they spawned from these pillars, right? I mean, I legitimately don't know. The only reason why I say is because they seem to have increasing pillars on these Arena 1, Arena 2, and Arena 3. So maybe multiple spawn? I don't know. Maybe just one, and you have to try and figure out to make sure you're not standing in any of them. Don't know exactly. Just know that beam spawns and you don't stand in it. Alright, cool beam. Eternity Engine is just a raid-wide constant damage. Deals damage every 2 seconds. Healers just have to heal it. It's not ramping, it just deals constant damage. The last thing I believe is called Crushing Prism. This is quite very important. So what this is going to do is it is a dispellable damage over time that increases damage and how much it slows you over the course of its duration, which is 16 seconds. When it's dispelled, it's going to drop a zone that deals damage and slows all players and motes that pass through it. The idea here is to, you know, if you have, let's say, let's use this. Let's use this as a symbol. If you have the Crushing Prism on you, you're going to walk over here. You know what? Let's change positioning here a little bit. Let's say you're going to walk over here and say, hey, dispel me. Dispel Squinch. I have Crushing Prism on me, and I'm in a good position to where if I drop the Crushing Prism zone, that the moat is going to pass over it and have a slow on it, right? That's exactly what it is. So let's say, you know, it moves like this. Now it's moving pretty slow like this in this zone. That's the entire concept around it. Pretty simple, right? Now to talk about the transition phase. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about this. Let me delete some of this stuff. Delete most of it. So, there's going to be a door that opens, right? Put everyone else around here. Excellent. So he's going to, Halondrus is going to unburrow itself, going from this arena to the next arena, right over here. From here to here. Every time he takes a leg out of the ground, he's going to deal damage. Every time Halondrus takes a step, he's going to deal raid-wide damage. So this is a pretty healer-intensive phase. DPS, all we have to do is make sure that we're keeping up with, well, everyone has to keep up with the boss, but we need to make sure to squeeze out as much DPS as we can during this time. This is probably a lot easier for melee DPS than it is ranged, unless you're a hunter. Beast Mastery Hunter in specific. This could shave off several percentage of his HP. So, like I said, the first transition starts at 80% health. By the time he reaches this arena, he might be, I don't know, like 60% health, right? You know, assuming his health isn't that high and our DPS fucking pumps. So, that just means that we don't have to deal with nearly as much mechanics in phase 1 if he starts out at a lower HP. So that's the whole goal. You know, even if we got him to like 70% when he's over here, then we only have to chip off 20% more health. And it's just the same phase as the stationary phase, right? Just multiple times. Arena 2, Ramp 2, and then finally the last arena. So you just have to worry about doing that a handful of times before we're done moving. We want to be able to use speed boosts like Stampeding Roar or Wind Rush Totem, because if he makes it over here and we have slow Jim Bob over here, then he's going to get locked out of the arena. This door is going to close and he's going to be stuck here wondering why he can't do anything. Is there anything else? Honestly, that's it for the ramps. The last phase is going to be his like soft. It's going to be a soft enrage time. He's going to have Eternity Overdrive. It's going to deal damage and pull Ephemera toward him, and it's the speed and the damage is going to ramp up every 10 seconds. So there's constantly the Ephemera modes that we're going to have to worry about coming towards him. This is where we're going to want to use Bloodlust so that you know, it's do or die. We have to kill him or we get killed. That's about it. Honestly, this was shorter than I thought it was going to take. So, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves.